Antagonisms are basically, I mean, you can widen class antagonisms to just completely eliminate, or to eliminate divisions. And I think that's what this does more than anything else. And that this can be seen as a working class problem.
Reactions? We have a question here.
It was a contribution, really. I'm from Barnet Trades Council, so I'm coming with my trade union hat on. I think where you're going with this is like, think strategically, are we doing everything we can to win? I don't know. It'd be interesting in a different session to find out how this occupation is organised, what discussions you've had and blah, blah. How far your long-term your goals and things are. Anyway, it's good to try and win, but I don't agree that losing is just a waste of time. Just acting, I've lost everything I've ever been involved in. That's not a good sign. Lessons, the small victories, where people did win a little bit, how did they do it, where they lost, what could they have done better, right? And that's something that we should all do. It's a vast thing, to go and study, but it's very important. And like here in Enfield, you had last year, this is kind of partial riposte for this man here, last year in Enfield you had a car parts, I don't want to go orthodox Marxist on you, but we had a car parts factory which closed, and people were given tomorrow this place is going to close, right? Like you, suddenly something is laid at your door that you didn't expect, it's going to close tomorrow, and they thought, oh my God, this is outrageous. And sort of inspired by the fact that the same thing was happening to the factory in Belfast, the people in Enfield thought, well, they're occupying their factory this evening, let's us do it tomorrow. And they did it, right? And they learned loads and loads of lessons through doing it, and they loads of mistakes, but they learned loads of things, and they had a partial victory, right? You win and you lose sometimes. Do you know what I mean? They had to make a compromise. They won more than they would have done if they hadn't fought. I.e. they won vastly improved redundancy package for all grades, and they also lost. They had to put aside the question of whether they get their pensions back, right? And they said, okay, we'll leave that to another day, and they're still battling on that. But they won a partial victory, so they won and lost, right? They hadn't struggled and won anything. Now, I think this community, I'm going on a bit, one thing something interesting happened at occupation and other little factory occupations that have happened recently is that studenty types have gone to those occupations and organised things like this for the workers in them, film shows and talks, right? Those occupations, working class people haven't tended to do that by themselves. It's been studenty types or lefties going along and suggesting that this would be a good thing to do. So, but here, you're much more organised. This is the first thing these almost seems like, sit around and debate and whatnot. Anyway, I'm just thinking, you've got certain class positions, certain habits, working class people have certain class positions and habits. Try and find the things, try and share these experiences with each other. I think, I don't know if you know this people, but it would be very good to get them and talk to them. Because they will teach you some things, And I'll just say, there is a kind of relationship between the fact that there are quite a few student occupations going on, and I think it's entirely related to the fact that last year there were 3 or 4 small work occupations, that inspired students to think, we could use this tactic. So I don't think it's antagonism, we just work together when we can.
Small point of information on that. The Vistion occupation that you're referring to, we did send us a solidarity message on Friday, and I think Linda Bartle, who was one of the people in that campaign, said she was going to try and come visit tomorrow. So that's definitely on the list.
So then just take a quick response to that. I'd like to say that in no way was I trying to belittle the working class or even say anything of that sort. And I also do believe, just like you, that it's very important for links to be made and for different struggles to be put together. My only concern was that that sometimes we slip back and feel that when we talk about a revolutionary subject, that we still feel that we need to, I don't know how to put it, but sort of use certain language that I think sometimes alienates certain people. Because I mean, so when I first, during my Marxist phase, I used to feel very bad that I wasn't from a working class background. I used to think that, I'm from a middle class background. Obviously, I don't know how it feels like to be working class at all. I'm a fraud. I'm a champagne socialist, like whatever his name is, that lawyer barrister dude. That sort of thing. And I think when people keep talking about the working class, and then you go there as someone who sympathizes with the cause, you just feel like, you know what I mean.
Just on the basis of being a revolutionary socialist, really, I don't think it's about pretending to be working class or having a romantic vision of the working class. It's about practically thinking about ways in which we can win in situations like this. And I think it's absolutely brilliant that this occupation is going on. We're having all these debates, but I do question, how long it will take to win just through student occupation alone, and in terms of having a strategy around the working class, it's absolutely practical. It's about the fact that if staff at this university went on strike, then you were immediately hitting this university in the pocket, and that is one of the most important things to them. And I think we have to look at ways in which students here can actually start making those links, across to the staff. And I know I was in the planning meeting before the occupation that I think some of the staff from the union were talking about, something that might trigger an industrial dispute. But actually, we're seeing industrial disputes, UCU strikes across colleges last week, and it was actually because those unions had called for a guarantee against things happening, and because they weren't given those guarantees, those unions went out on strike. And this university is saying it is going to attack a department. So simply by saying we need the guarantee that isn't going to happen, that kind of thing has been the reason that UCU has had a wave of really successful strike action over the last week. But I don't think it's an abstract question, really. It's about how do we win in a situation like this, and it's about hitting Middlesex University in the pocket. And I think we need to think about, is that possible, and can we do that as quickly as possible.
Once again, I'm a Marxist, I'm a socialist, and I'm starting to feel like this is sort of like a kind of confessional circle for fairly hot student refugees all pile in. Well, my name's Edward, I've been involved in the revolutionary left for 2 years. It wasn't very serious to begin with, but that's the guys. And I think the thing about the role of organised socialists is I understand this thing you say about it seems like there's some sort of pressure to prole up a bit, but that's a red herring, it's got nothing to do with that. The idea is the transmission of ideas to the class that you identify as the key agent in society. And for some people that is actually very sort of sharp intake of breath. You say that one class has got a greater social weight, a greater power to create liberatory change than another. That's true. It's the working class, people who work for a wage, in the broader sense. But and the task is to spread certain ideas in it, and that opens up another box of problems. But where those ideas come from, Frederick Engels, right? He was actually a mill owner. He was actually a capitalist, and he would spend his whole time going on hunts with other mill owners and drinking very expensive wine with other mill owners, and then he listened to everything that they said about how they